Hello, and thank you for joining us on the Capitol Report on NTD television. I'm Steve Lance. As Republican states move to ban or restrict abortion following the bombshell Supreme Court ruling, President Biden today brainstorms with Democratic governors about their next steps. But the president admits that one thing will not happen soon, despite his passionate plea.
And if the filibuster gets in the way, it's like voting rights. It should be, we provide an exception for this.
One day after making a rare call to abolish the filibuster to codify Roe, President Biden on Friday admitted that his push won't get anywhere anytime soon.
Right now, we don't have the votes in the Senate to change the filibuster at the moment.
To codify Roe into federal law, 60 votes are needed in the Senate to overcome the filibuster. While Democrats want to scrap the supermajority rule, they don't have the 50 votes needed from their own caucus. That became apparent Thursday when Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema made clear they would not come on board.
This is not over.
But Democrats say they'll do more on other fronts, with Biden vowing to help women go to another state to get an abortion, and New York's governor touting her state as a possibility.
We also are prepared to serve as a destination for women who'll be looking to a place like New York and other states, and my colleagues on the call, as a safe harbor.
That's on top of Biden reiterating his push to make abortion an election issue.
So the choice is clear. We either elect federal senators and representatives who will codify Roe, or Republicans who will elect the House and Senate who will try to ban abortions nationwide.
But Katie Glenn, the state policy director of a leading pro-life group, told NTD that such a push has already met with failure and will not work on most Americans.
They've already voted on the so-called Women's Health Protection Act to try to require abortion on demand paid for by taxpayers multiple times. It's failed in the Senate twice. It may fail in the Senate again. So we know that they are looking for something to change their fate in November when things aren't looking good, and they're trying to use this as the example. But the American people aren't going to have it.
Biden said he hoped the new Congress after November will throw more support behind Roe. But that prospect remains uncertain amid speculation that Democrats could lose seats.
The Supreme Court yesterday made it possible for the Biden administration to end another Trump-era policy, remain in Mexico. What does it mean from a legal perspective, and what impact will it make to our unprecedented border crisis? Ken Cuccinelli, former Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security, joins us to explain the situation. Ken Cuccinelli, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Ken, do you think the Supreme Court made the right decision yesterday to end the Remain in Mexico policy?
Well, it's probably no surprise to you that I want to see the Remain in Mexico policy continue. It was one of the most effective deterrents and operational successes we had in the Trump administration in slowing and stopping illegal immigration. I will say that I've read the pieces of the court's ruling, and there are elements of it that, as much as people like me would like to see the Remain in Mexico program remain in place, are going to really help the next Republican president who's going to be elected in November of 2024 to avoid the kind of litigation interference from outside groups that we suffered in the Trump administration, and to do things like take down DACA. So there is a silver lining to this. And ironically, the court did not, all the reporting hasn't made this clear, the court did not take down the Remain in Mexico program. They sent it back down to the lower court to determine whether it had been properly dismantled under the APA, which is the regulatory oversight statute. So there's more to this story coming still.
So, Ken, what would be the counter to the majority opinion supported by at least one conservative justice that states that immigration law allows the federal government to end the program?
So the statute that allows for the existence of the Remain in Mexico program uses the word may. The secretary may do this. And the court, perhaps not surprisingly, decided that that means it's discretionary to the secretary. Now, the reason, as I noted, that it isn't over is the secretary still has to follow certain steps in making those decisions, but that he has the discretion to do it. If you'll remember, the district court said that this was being used in part to fulfill the federal legal obligation to detain all illegal immigrants until they have a hearing. And that even though that language is mandatory, because the Congress has never budgeted enough money to do that, the court has not held the federal government to do it. So the district court judge said, this Remain in Mexico program finally provides a way for the federal government to comply with this detention requirement, so I'm not letting you take it down until you have another way to detain everybody. And the court said, no, you can't do that. You can't tie the two statutes together. That does sort of beg the question about requiring the detention based on the other statute. But one of the things the court also did was it undermined the ability of district court judges to impose injunctions. They said only the Supreme Court can impose injunctions on these immigration law statutes, which again, for the next Republican administration, is going to allow litigation to go on without impairing the implementation of a strong pro-border and frankly pro-deportation, because we're going to have to deport a lot of these people who are coming in right now, set of policies.
So Ken, what tools, if any, would you say now the states have to essentially take matters into their own hands to protect the border?
Well, that's a great question. They don't have any new tools because of the ruling, but there is one tool that Texas and Arizona in particular have frankly failed to use. It is the ability to use, to declare themselves as having been invaded under the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, and to return people back over the border themselves. This would not be immigration law. It's actually a war power that they can respond to being invaded. But the only war power they need is to deal with prisoners, the people they catch. And again, it wouldn't be under immigration law. And yet Governors Ducey in Arizona and Abbott in Texas simply refuse to utilize this authority. We saw this week the Kinney County Sheriff felt like he didn't have any more options, Kinney County, Texas, sorry, and he took 4 illegals back to the border and put them back across himself. That really should be done under the authority of the governor of Texas, and he has the constitutional power to do it. And all he keeps doing is blaming the Biden administration and saying, gee, we're doing everything. And he does a lot of photo ops, but he doesn't return people back across the border. The one critical element to make any border security program successful.
Ken Cuccinelli, thank you.
Good to be with you.
The Supreme Court Thursday threw out 3 lower court rulings on abortion. 2 of them revoked abortion bans in Arizona and Arkansas. Third case in Indiana involved parental notification for minors seeking abortion. The cases will now return to lower courts to be reconsidered. The lower court decisions were based on Roe and a companion precedent known as Planned Parenthood versus Casey. The 1973 Roe decision largely made abortions legal nationwide. Prior to that, it was up to the states to decide. And the 1992 companion ruling said states cannot significantly restrict abortions before an unborn baby can survive outside of the womb. Both rulings were overturned last week. Since then, there's been a flurry of judicial activity. On Thursday, a Florida judge temporarily blocked a new law banning abortion at 15 weeks. Governor Ron DeSantis says they will appeal.
These are unborn babies that have heartbeat, they can feel pain, they can suck their thumb, and to say that the state constitution mandates things like dismemberment abortions, I just don't think that's the proper interpretation.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.